Okay, guys, that was the speech of Sheriff Richard Mack, former Sheriff Richard Mack, endorsing Corey Merriman for Mojave County position. Now, why it's so important to have a county sheriff that understands the Constitution and is a constitutional, or she's a constitutional sheriff? Because exactly what's happening right now in America. We are under tyranny. We are already under martial law. Maybe they are not knocking down on your doors right now. Maybe you are not there in the dungeon. Maybe you are not there without bail, in isolation 23 hours a day, facing 107 years in jail like we had before the case with that poor bastard, okay, of Eric J. Parker and many other people like him with no previous criminal records, okay? For example, we're talking about Eric. He has no record, just for a conspiracy. And, this is very dangerous, what's happening right now. And as I said, the sheriff position, it is one of the solutions that we must understand to stop this tyranny. Now, I would like to have with me on the air my friend Ken from Michigan, that I met, and I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm not afraid to say it. I was there at the Bundy's event, and I was with Ken, and we were exercising our First Amendment. If that now means we are guilty of a conspiracy, let it be. Of course, I'm not going to speak for Ken, but I know where he stands, but let him say what he has to say. Ken, are you there?
Oh, absolutely. I feel the same way you do. We didn't go there with machine guns or nothing. I don't think either. I know I didn't have one. And I know you didn't have one. So, I don't care what they say in this country now that we can be worried about getting arrested for actually, I call it civil disobedience. It's a march. We went down there and tell them, no, you're not going to keep stealing the cattle. And they point guns at you. And, like Michelle Fiorino said, that when they point guns at you, expect to get guns pointed back at you. And there were some people there that was there for that reason, to make sure that people like me and Luke were standing right by the front gate. We didn't get shot.
Exactly.
And that's why we didn't get shot.
Exactly.
And the sheriff wasn't doing his job. It's too bad he didn't, but he didn't. But I'll give you kind of update on Pete Santilli.
Yes.
They just moved him down. They just moved him to Nevada now to face charges down there. And before he went, the reason he had to go to Nevada was because the judge was going to release him in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
But before he could get released, he had to take a psych evaluation. And she said, if the doctor says he needs drugs, it's going to be court ordered.
Wait a second. Wait 1 second, because I already know the story, but I need to put a 1 second a break here to make sinking into our mind exactly what you just said.
Okay.
The judge said, try to repeat it like we are at elementary school. The basic, that now Pete must go through a mental evaluation. I met Pete many times. Probably you did many more than me. You spend more time, and we may have agreement or disagreement. I know that we have our own issues, but I remember Pete is not crazy unless something happened to him meanwhile. But I don't think so. Now my point is, just because we disagree with the government, or just because we talk about topics that the government doesn't like it, now we are crazy, or they try to label us as crazy. Exactly how the judge came out with this idea that now Pete Santilli supposedly is crazy and is supposed to go through forced medication. Please, what do you know about this?
What I know about it, Luca, is if you disagree with anything the government says or what they're doing, then you're mentally ill. Wow. I mean, this is getting to be a big deal, and the people better wake up to it, because that's how they're going to label us. For him to have to go through a mental evaluation, nobody else had to go through a mental evaluation except Pete Santilli. It was because what he was saying, his First Amendment on the radio.
Yeah.
But he's got to go through a mental evaluation.
Yes. And let me exactly say this. This is so important, because we must understand what's happening right now. This is not a conspiracy. This is a fact. And it didn't start right now with Obama. This forced mental evaluation and, of course, also medication is exactly something that comes back to the time under Russia or under a tyrannical government like in East Germany or in any type of tyrannical government where normally when they wanted to do, let's say, silence the political dissidents, they would label them crazy. And if they were lucky enough that they didn't kill them on the spot, they would put them in these sort of madhouses, and of course sometimes also drag them up so much that they become like zombies. That's what it's happened. Now, it's happening in America. It didn't start with Obama. Technically, it started with Bush, of this new type of regulations. It was even a law. I think it was an executive order, by the way. But regardless, now we have it. And I find something that for me is more disturbing than the same government pressing charges just because of our First Amendment, just because of a conspiracy. They can put us in jail. But now even worse, they can tell you that you are crazy just because probably you believe in the Constitution. Or maybe you do not believe in global warming. Or maybe because you are a gun owner. Or you think communism is a bad thing. I mean, we are right now living in some sort of a 1984 horror movie. Now, please, what is the latest news that you have about Pete? Because I'm very concerned. If they can do this to Pete, they can do this to any one of us. That's the point. I'm trying to bring it out. What do you know more about it? Did he go through the mental evaluation?
Well, not. Yeah, that I don't know. I can't say he did or he didn't, but I know she said she wasn't going to release him because he wouldn't agree to the mental evaluation, and his attorney stood up and said, "Oh, well, Peter go through a mental evaluation. If that's what it takes to get him released," she said, "Okay, then in that case, if he'll go through that, I'll release him." Wow. But yet they don't request anybody else to go through a mental evaluation.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't let it. They kept them all separate in Portland. Each floor had one of the patriots on it, like Alman Bundy, Ryan Bundy, with his own different floors. They wouldn't put none of them together because they're so afraid that they're going to get together and come up with an idea of how to tell the federal government what they're doing is wrong. So they told Pete, well, the only floor we got open is a psych ward. So to get out of the cell, Pete took the psych ward. He told me, he said, "Kenny, I got along with them people, with them guys, and they're fine." He said, "A lot of them were hearing the voices." So I told him, "This is a government program. It's nothing to do with you being crazy."
Wow.
He said, "It's a government program." He said, "So I was in there educating them in there about the target individuals." I said, "Well, I appreciate that, Pete."
Yeah.
But he said he got along with, he said most of them in there, they didn't need to be drugged. Yet they had to get in line every morning to get their drugs and every night to get their drugs.
Yeah.
So they got him up in the jail instead of putting him in a mental ward.
Oh my God.
They put him in a mental ward in the jail.
Oh my God.
But Luca, let me tell you something. This goes a lot deeper.
Yeah.
Even our schools right now are taking 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and 9th. And if they say that, they call the parents and say your student, your son or your daughter is ADHD.
Yeah.
We need you to take them and they need to be on these drugs. The schools tell them they need it.
Yeah.
What does the schools know about what the kids need in drugs?
Yeah.
So they start putting them on, I don't know what kind of drugs it is, the Anarol or whatever it is, Prozac, whatever they put them on. Now the medical industry is making millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Now the school gets more money because they're special needs now. So the school gets more money. Now, the next thing when Johnny or Alice gets up to, say, 18, 19, 20, 21, they want to go buy a gun.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them. They say, "Oh, you can't own a gun." So this is a multi-headed, whatever they do, whatever you want to call it.
It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. It's a long
get gun control.
Exactly. It's a long-term plan, a conspiracy against the American people. Because first of all, the conspiracy starts even deeper. Because the baby, when he's just born, they wanted to give him immediately 7, 8 vaccines on the spot when the baby is still full of blood of our mom, still not even breathing. Not even a few hours later, they want to load them up with mercury and vaccines. And I am sure, and I'm not a doctor, but I don't need to be a doctor. I need to read the different medical and, more important, even official documents from the CDC and different. Right now, it's on the open. All this mercury and all this chemical garbage that they put in your little baby is such a high dose for a vaccine that anyway is a fraud anyway. Yes, I'm sure it's gonna give you
Right.
some sort of a slowing down your brain. I'm sure it's gonna get retarded. That's what happened. That's why we have now all these different new diseases of all these kids. They're pretty much now becoming autistics. That's why we didn't have that 50 years ago. Wake up, people.
Right.
And now, of course, after that, they gave you another solution. So you're a little slow. You have, how you say, deficiency, attention deficiency or whatever. Boom. And then you get your drugs up. And then when you're 18, you cannot even have anymore your basic rights, like a Second Amendment right. This is so important. But what I'm really concerned now, it is, first of all, I want everybody understand. I already said during the first hour, this is not anymore about if you agree or not with the bandits, with the grazing rights and the BLM. Now this is about due process. This is about now for some of us political dissidents, just because we speak up against the government or we have our own opinion, and tomorrow could be anybody else on other issues, they can lock you up. And you can face charges that not even if you commit a robbery or if you commit a murder, to face 107 years in jail, like Eric J. Parker, okay, that he has no previous record. The guy is like a working man. He's a working man, a family man. All he did, as you said before, he was standing on that highway, on that bridge, being sure that we didn't get shot. And if somebody's supposed to press charges, it's us against them, reminded that you do not point loaded rifles at American people while exercising the First Amendment. Because these bastards, they could not even allow to point a rifle at illegal aliens crossing the border. They would be right now ACLU, it would be down the Mexican consulate and Obama on the front line. Instead, they can do that to us. And you know what? Even if there is a potential alleged crime, we're talking about a little bit out of control for somebody that didn't kill anybody, didn't shoot anybody, didn't do anything, but just tried to defend us. Now he's facing 107 years in jail and is on solitary confinement. Even I think Jack the Ripper, if you are like a child molester, you get a chance to get out of jail under bail and you don't get a treatment. And now what you tell me about Pete being forced to go through this mental evaluation, and if the judge or the funny doctor, that the psychiatrist say, yeah, he's crazy. He doesn't believe in global warming. Oh, yes, he's crazy. He believes in the Constitution. Boom. We create a precedent not even in Russia had, not even in China under Mao Zedong and this regime. We are living under martial law. Listen, Ken, I really want to say thank you. I'm so glad we met each other. I don't know how it's going to end this, but I'm proud that I met you. I'm proud that you are not afraid to stand the line with me. And that's all I want to say. You are my brother in these very dangerous times, but I believe there is a reason why we met.
I appreciate that, Luke, and you are a dear friend, but do I have a couple minutes, or
Yes.
are you pretty close to
We got 2 more minutes, but before we forget, I'm going to have you specifically. I know what you want to talk, and I'm with you. We need to talk more about this technology that the government had the last 50 years.
I want to talk about Alvin Bundy and all the rest of them.
Go ahead.
That they say they can't be released because they're a danger to society.
Yes.
And they're a flight risk.
Yeah.
Them guys is in Burns, Oregon. I was there.
Yeah.
They were going to every town meeting they had. They were going in and out of town, going to restaurants and eating, and all this. And now when they get them in jail, they're a danger to society. Them people wouldn't hurt anybody, never did threaten anybody, didn't do anything, and they're a flight risk. They wasn't running then, and they ain't running, but yet they're going to be in jail for maybe 18 months before the trial even starts. What country are we living in, Luke?
Exactly. But, I agree. I'm being sarcastic now. Yes, they are really dangerous to society. You know why? Because they're spreading the truth. Because they're talking about things that probably the average American is not aware of. When you start to talk about things, yes, you're dangerous to the establishment. That's like a bad antivirus start to break the matrix. That's what they were doing. That's why they're so dangerous. Right. That's why I really believe Lavoie was murdered, because he had a great case here in Mohave County. I interviewed him in September before all this happened. And he was standing up against the BLM, and he was asking for help to the county government and to the sheriff. And he wanted to switch the grazing fees, from the federal government, BLM, to pay directly to the county. Very dangerous precedent that. If that was going to happen, the BLM, they would have a really bad day. And so the federal establishment. So listen, I want to tell you something. First of all, thank you to not be afraid, because I know many people now, they're running scared. And, that's a normal thing to do. I understand. But we're here. And then I tell you something, you said before, we didn't have guns. That's fine. But even people had guns there. This is of course, my humble opinion. In the state of Nevada, that part of Nevada is called the Second Amendment. You're allowed by the state law to have an open carry. So that shouldn't be a crime. Okay?
Absolutely, Buck. And look, they shouldn't be arresting anybody there that had a gun on them.
Exactly.
Then why don't they go arrest all their officers that was pointing guns at the Bundy's head and our heads?
Exactly.
And everybody else's heads that was there peaceful. If they turn around and point them at people with the guns, they knew what that would get them. So they wasn't stupid enough to do that, but they're pointing them at us because we're protesting what they're doing.
Exactly. Listen, I'll let you
Sad
go.
day in America.
Ken, thank you very much. The show is over for today. Guys, please get this broadcast, get the YouTube, spread it around. We need to elect county sheriff that they are constitutional, and we need to let everybody know what's going on in America. We are under tyranny. It's our duty to take it back. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Thank you, and God's willing, I'll talk to you next Sunday.
Wake up, America, before it's too late. They're trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. Every day you're invaded, your soil desecrated. Politicians turn their back. You're under attack. You're under attack. They're trying to erase your borders. The UN wants to give you orders. They're trying to sell your pride. It's time to wake up. Now it's time to fight.